Millionaire enters orphanage, and a girl screams, "Dad." You won't believe what happens next. As the heavy wooden doors creaked open, sunlight spilled into the dimly lit orphanage, illuminating dust particles swirling through the air like lost dreams. The hush of the building shattered as a tall, sharply dressed man stepped inside, his presence commanding attention. His tailored suit gleamed, rich and dark like a midnight sky, and his black sunglasses reflected a world that seemed oblivious to the unfolding drama. The children, huddled together on worn couches, stared in disbelief. A tangible energy buzzed around them. This was no ordinary day. And then, as if struck by lightning, a small girl with curly hair and wide eyes erupted from the shadows, her voice piercing the silence. "Dad." The room went still. Gasps echoed off the walls. The air thickened with mystery as every head turned toward her, confusion etched on their faces. Who was this man? Was she truly his daughter? Chloe? The millionaire replied, his expression an odd mix of surprise and trepidation. The name hung between them, heavy with unspoken history. The children exchanged wide-eyed looks, whispers cascading like ripples through the crowd. What if this was the moment they'd all been waiting for? The chance for family, for hope. But as those seconds ticked by, unease curled in the pit of their stomachs. Who was this man really? What past haunted him? A figure loomed at the edge of the doorway, an elderly woman with a frown etched deep into her weathered face. She knew more than she let on. Just then, the air shifted again, the atmosphere crackled with tension. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Chloe's gaze locked onto the man, searching for something: hope, recognition, maybe even love. The more she gazed, the more tension filled the room, twisting and turning like a dark cloud. Could he really be her father? The other kids clung to each other, their hearts racing, wondering if this was the time for miracles or heartbreak. As the millionaire took a step forward, an unsettling creak echoed from the floor, breaking the silence. Suddenly, the door slammed shut with a thunderous bang. All eyes snapped to the entrance. What was happening? It was as if the world outside conspired against them. Chloe hesitated, a mixture of fear and yearning on her face. What secrets lay buried within the walls of the orphanage? What fate awaited them all as the storm brewed outside? Was this a beginning or an ending? The air thickened. Anticipation simmered to a boiling point. The shadows danced, whispering truths unspoken. One thing was clear: everything was about to change. Chloe's heart thundered in her chest. She took a cautious step forward, the eyes of her friends heavy with unuttered fears. "Dad," she said again, this time her voice trembling with a mix of longing and doubt. The man staggered back, almost as if he had been punched in the gut. His sunglasses slipped down his nose, revealing stormy gray eyes that seemed to shift between emotions like clouds on a windy day. "Chloe, I thought you were," he stammered, words failing him. The flicker of uncertainty in his expression only deepened the mystery hanging in the air. The others watched intently, caught in a trance between hope and horror. Was this man truly her father, or was he a stranger with a face that matched her dreams? The elderly woman at the doorway, Mrs. Thompson, took a slow step forward, her frail body tightening with resolve. "You shouldn't be here," she warned, voice low. "Not after everything." The room swelled with tension, each child gripping their pillows as they exchanged frantic whispers. What did she mean? What had transpired between them? Everything. The man shot back, anger flaring briefly before being replaced by confusion. He glanced back at Chloe, the anguish unmistakable. "I'm here now. Isn't that what matters?" But his words felt hollow, bloodless. They floated like leaves in the wind, without grounding. Chloe's small frame shook. "You left me. Where were you?" Tears streamed down her cheeks, carving trails of desperate pain. She had spent countless nights dreaming of this moment, but now, it felt like all the warmth had been sucked out of the hall. The little girl stood vulnerably exposed, her cries echoing around the orphanage. The other children, feeling her pain, pressed against her. Some began to sniffle, sensing a tragedy unfolding before them. In that moment, the million-dollar smile the man had worn was nowhere to be found, leaving behind the bare bones of a father haunted by choices long past that Mrs. Thompson's weathered thumb brushed her chin as she shot him a scathing gaze. "You didn't just leave, you disappeared. It was as if we had never existed," she pronounced sharply. "You have no idea what we did to protect them." The shadows seemed to thicken, coiling tight around them. "How could I forget?" He shot back, raw and ragged. "I was told," but he cut himself off, shaking his head as if clearing away cobwebs. A mysterious truth hung between them, heavy and dark. Chloe took a step back, confusion swirling in her mind like a hurricane. Questions bubbled up like lava waiting to erupt. Who had told him? What had happened? She felt lost in the maelstrom. Just then, the lights flickered, plunging them into momentary darkness. Gasps filled the space, punctuated by scattered sobs. And when the lights flickered back on, they illuminated the man standing at the center, the children around him like a protective ring, the tension palpable enough to choke on. The back door creaked open, catching everyone's eyes. A chilling gust rolled in, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. A shadowy figure loomed there, face concealed. "It's time to go," it commanded, voice low and menacing. Chloe's breath caught in her throat. Who was this new figure? What did they know about her father? With uncertainty flooding the room, choices needed to be made. Chloe's heart raced, curiosity clashing with fear. And deep down, an ember of hope flickered. Could she dare to unearth the truth? The path before them twisted, filled with shadows and secrets. What awaited them as the storm raged outside? Would she finally learn who her father really was? The air tightened again, and it was clear, nothing would remain untouched. The shadowy figure stepped further into the dimly lit room, and its presence swallowed the warmth of the moment. Chloe's heart raced, a relentless drumbeat of fear echoing off the walls. All eyes were on the newcomer. "What do you want?" she managed, voice catching like a small bird with a broken wing. "Your father is in danger," the figure stated, voice calm yet chaotic in the silence. It felt like the walls themselves were holding their breath, waiting for the next word. The man who claimed to be her father took a protective step forward, his gaze now fierce and unyielding. "Who are you, and what do you know about me?" His voice rippled with defiance, though Chloe detected a crack where fear waited to break free. A cold smirk twisted the figure's lips, the transformation chilling. "I know everything about you, him, and what you've all been hiding." The last words slithered through the room, leaving tingles of dread dancing along Chloe's spine. "Stop! You don't have to do this," Mrs. Thompson shouted, her frail shout slicing through the thick tension. But realization dawned in her often sweet eyes, replaced by a grim understanding of what was unfolding. She stepped forward, fists balled. "Leave this place and take your secrets with you." "Secrets?" The figure echoed, the smirk widening. "Oh, there are plenty. Secrets buried deep beneath this orphanage. Secrets that could tear apart lives." Chloe's thoughts churned like a whirlpool. What secrets? What lives? Every unanswered question threatened to swallow her whole. She could feel the cold needle of anxiety prickling at the edges of her mind. The other children huddled together, eyes darting from the figure to the man who claimed to be her father. "Tell us what you know." Chloe found herself screaming, surprising even herself with the force of her voice. It came out raw and desperate, fueled by a yearning for truth that felt like it could ignite the room. The shadows danced at the corners, and she sensed an answer lurking just behind the walls that surrounded them. The figure's expression darkened, almost pitying. "Very well, but remember, truth can be a weapon. Instead of being saved, you might just find you're better off in the dark." It took another step forward, revealing a glint of something metallic in its hand, a slender, glimmering key. "What is that?" Chloe's question burst out like a shot, instant regret flooding her as she noticed the man stiffen beside her, his eyes narrowing in alarm. "It opens a door," the figure said, "a door to your father's past, the one he's tried to lock away." It waved the key teasingly, electricity crackling in the air. "But it also opens a cage that has kept everyone safe, perhaps at a price." "So what will it be?" the figure asked, looking down at her. "Do you possess the courage to illuminate the truth?" Chloe felt the weight of every child around her resting on her shoulders. A tide of tears threatened to spill, but she held them back. The intensity of the moment surged, electrifying the air. Her father looked at her, his eyes pleading, begging her to consider the cost. Time hung suspended. She could choose ignorance and a false sense of security or risk everything for the truth. Would she step into that uncertain light? Her heart raced as she grasped for a decision. Just then, a loud crash echoed through the hall, causing everyone to recoil in shock. The figure grinned wider, satisfaction gleaming in their eyes. What now? Chloe gasped as another figure emerged behind the broken door, this one with a hood, covered in darkness. In that instant, with her heart pounding in the storm-charged air, an undeniable question blared through her mind. Would this be the moment her life shattered, or would it finally ignite a journey for redemption? And as the shadows tightened around them, she realized the revelation was closer than ever. But would the truth bring liberation or ruin? Chloe blinked, her mind racing. The figure in the hood turned its head toward her, the shadow obscuring its face, but failing to hide the sinister glint of its eyes. The air crackled with tension, leaving everyone rooted to the spot. What was happening? Who were these people? Chloe felt a surge of determination overpower her fear. She took a tentative step forward, her heart hammering loudly as the figure with the key looked from her to the hooded figure. "Stay away from my father," she shouted, her voice trembling but defiant. "Your courage is admirable, child," the keyholder said, amusement dancing in its tone. "But courage doesn't always ensure safety." The hooded figure shifted slightly, long fingers emerging from the darkness. "The past can't be buried forever," it spoke, voice husky and ominous. "It demands to be uncovered, just like the secrets you hold." A murmur surged through the other children, soft whispers filled with fear and uncertainty. Chloe's father remained statuesque, muscles tensed, eyes flickering between the two figures, assessing the threat. The weight of his past seemed to pull him back, caught between the urge to protect Chloe and the haunting secrets that threatened to unravel everything. "What do you want from us?" Mrs. Thompson interjected, fear underlying her fierce tone. "This is an orphanage. You shouldn't be here, none of you." The keyholder laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers racing down their spines. "Oh, but that's where you're wrong. This place has been a sanctuary, yes, but it holds dark currents beneath its surface. Do you think you can shield them from every truth? The truth will claw its way to the surface." Chloe shuddered at the implications, feeling the air grow heavy with dread. Thoughts of the recent strange occurrences, the inexplicable noises in the night, the locked doors that felt alive with secrets flooded her mind. What did they mean? What was truly hidden here? Before she could formulate a question, the hooded figure stepped forward, and the shadows seemed to twist around it. "Let us cut to the chase, shall we? The key, give it to me." Its voice changed, sharper, more commanding. Chloe felt confrontation bubbling in her chest. She couldn't trust either figure, and the mission of discovery was hers alone. "No, it belongs to my father. You can't have it." She clutched the air in front of her, as if she could seize the truth right out of the air. The hooded figure recoiled, as if struck. "You foolish girl. You don't realize what you're dealing with." The darkness thickened around it like a cloak, pulsating against the walls. Then, almost instinctively, Chloe turned to her father. "Please, tell me about the key. What is going on?" The desperation in her voice caught the attention of everyone, and the room fell into a heavy silence. His eyes met hers, filled with a storm she couldn't decipher. "Chloe, there are things you aren't ready to understand. If you open that door," he broke off, gaze darting back to the hooded figure. "You may not like what you find. Don't you see?" The keyholder interjected. "To live in ignorance is to invite chaos. You need to confront your ghosts." "Ghosts?" Chloe felt the icy grip of fear wrapping around her heart. "I can handle it. Just tell me." The keyholder chuckled softly, blending menacing amusement with an unsettling allure. "Be careful what you wish for. Once the past is unshackled, there's no telling how it will react." Chloe's pulse raced. What choice did she have? The shadows danced maliciously around them, weaving a tapestry of darkness and regret. Staring at the key like it held the universe's fate, she felt its weight in a way that threatened to crush her spirit. And as she raised her trembling hand toward the keyholder, something inside her ignited a fierce need to know. to fight for the truth, whatever its cost. But maybe, just maybe, that was the beginning of a nightmare yet to unfold. What secrets would that door reveal, and would she be able to survive the truth waiting on the other side? Chloe's eyes flickered between her father and the ominous figure wrapped in shadows. She felt a tight knot form in her stomach. The flickering overhead lights cast frantic patterns, dancing along the walls, heightening the sense of chaos. It felt as if the very building whispered secrets, the ground rumbling with unspoken terror. "Chloe," her father said, urgency spilling from his voice. "Don't do this. You have to trust me." But trust? How could she? The urgency in his gaze only deepened her fear. She felt trapped, both in her father's apprehension and the looming threat of the hooded figure. Time felt fluid, stretching in agonizing slow motion as the tension squeezed the air from her lungs. The keyholder stepped closer, its voice smooth yet filled with malice. "You don't see, do you? This isn't just about a key. It's about legacy, about the sins of the past. And you, Chloe, are at the center of it." A chorus of whispered panicked breaths rippled through the other children. Their wide eyes reflected back the unease, and Chloe's heart raced. She was their protector, but how could she shield them when she felt so vulnerable? "What do you mean by the sins of the past?" Her voice trembled, fighting the storm inside her. She needed answers. She craved clarity more than anything. "The orphanage has been a sanctuary for the guilty," the keyholder replied, lips curling into a smirk. "Many have come here seeking refuge from their sins. But not all escape their chains, Chloe. Some doors should never be opened." The hooded figure stepped forward, emerging slightly from the shadows. "Children like you think you can confront the truth, but you're merely pawns in a game much larger than you comprehend." A glint of menace sparked in its eyes, and Chloe felt her skin crawl. Her father stepped into the fray, body tense. "Enough," he yelled, his voice booming against the walls. "You'll not take my daughter or anyone else." His posture was fierce, a lion protecting its cub. Yet, there was a flicker of something else, fear, perhaps. The keyholder laughed, a sound dripping with scorn. "Do you think you can protect her from what she is? The truth will come to light, and when it does, it will burn like fire." Chloe's heart pounded so hard she thought it might explode. She needed to act. The key in her father's hand suddenly felt warm, almost alive, resonating with a heartbeat of its own. With a surge of bravery, she stepped forward again. "Then let it come. If I have to face it, I will." Her voice rang out strong, fueled by all the unresolved questions swirling within. The hooded figure recoiled, and for a fleeting second, she saw uncertainty flicker in its shadowy eyes. "You don't understand the consequences." "Maybe not," Chloe shot back, anger surfacing, "but it's my life. If the past comes for me, I don't intend to hide." A murmur of surprise rippled through the crowd of children, a spark of hope igniting among the fear. Chloe focused her gaze on her father, searching for reassurance, for acknowledgement of her resolve. Surely, he would back her up. But instead, his face was a tapestry of resignation and dread. "Chloe," he whispered. But before he could finish, the entire room shuddered. A low growl emanated from the depths of the orphanage, a warning rumble that sent chills through all of them. Suddenly, the shadows shifted violently, swirling together as if alive. The keyholder's amusement vanished, replaced by a solemn intensity. "You dare to tempt fate? Then let's see what unfolds. Remember, your desires often lead to devastation." The shadows writhed around them, feeding off Chloe's fear. In a heartbeat, the atmosphere cracked and split, transforming into something unrecognizable. "Get ready," the keyholder hissed, eyes glinting with dark amusement. Chloe clenched her fists, adrenaline sparking through her veins. Whatever awaited her, she would face it head-on. But then she heard the distant sound of a door creaking slowly open. The air turned thick, filled with an electric anticipation. What lay beyond it? Would it hold the answers she sought, or would it unlock an abyss of horror? The truth was coming, and it wouldn't wait for Chloe to brace herself. Would she be able to confront what surfaced from her father's past, or would it consume them all? Chloe's breath caught in her throat as the door creaked wider, revealing a void that yawned before them. Darkness seemed to spill out like ink, suffocating the flickering light in the room. Her heart raced. This was the moment she dared to summon, yet now dread pooled in her stomach. Chloe, stay back. Her father shouted, stepping in front of her, acting like a shield. His hand tightened around the key, knuckles white in the dim light. The keyholder laughed again, a sound like broken glass that cut through the tension. Too late for protection, old man. The time has come for truths to unfurl, and the past has its own way of resurfacing. With a swift motion, the hooded figure lunged for the door, its hands outstretched, ready to plunge into the darkness. No, Chloe screamed, instinct kicking in. She pushed past her father, heart thundering, grasping the moment in her hands. She had to take control. Let me. I have to know. The moment hung in the air, charged with unbearable weight. The children gasped, eyes wide like saucers, clinging to one another. They were all depending on her, their little faces filled with both fear and a glimmer of hope. The keyholder's amused expression faltered for an instant, hesitation creeping into its shadowy demeanor. Foolish girl, it sneered, yet there was an edge of uncertainty in its tone. Chloe swallowed hard, steeling herself. What's on the other side? Is it something I should be afraid of? If it's part of my past, then I own it. The hooded figure stilled, the flickering shadow cast eerie shapes around the room. Just behind Chloe, she felt her father's presence stiff and agonized. Chloe, please no, he said softly, a quiver betraying his stoic facade. Ignoring him, she took a step forward, fueled by a raging fire inside. Whatever's lurking there, I can face it. I have to. As she stepped closer to the threshold, the air shifted. Whispers erupted from the darkness, anguished voices merging and swirling, crashing against her like a tidal wave. Chloe, help us. A chill snaked down her spine. These weren't just empty echoes. They felt real, desperate. The misfortune of lost souls weighed heavy in her chest, and she struggled against the urge to retreat. No, stay back. Her father shouted again, panic threading through each syllable. You don't understand the danger. But danger was what drove her. It ignited a sense of purpose she'd not felt until this moment. I do understand. She insisted, fierce determination surging. You've kept me in the dark for too long, Dad. If we're going to break this curse, it starts here. With that declaration, she crossed the threshold, stepping into the enveloping shadows. The world tore apart behind her like flimsy paper, the shrieks of her father mingling with the collective gasps of the other children, fading into something altogether terrifying. The darkness swallowed her whole, memories flashing before her eyes, unraveled fragments of time, laughter intertwined with fear. She sensed them all, shadows of those who once found refuge here. Each flicker a story, each wisp a sorrow begging to be understood. Before her, a figure started to take shape from within the black, someone familiar, yet distorted. A face cloaked in uncertainty, stitched with hardship. Chloe, the voice trembled, laced with her father's tone, but altered by echoes of something else, something that felt ancient and powerful. Who are you? She demanded, fear a distant hum drowned out by rage and determination. What do you want from me? The figure stepped closer, ambiguity flickering in its essence. I am part of you, part of your story. And if you wish to uncover the truth, you must be prepared to sacrifice what you think you know. With those words lingering in the air, the shadows thickened, closing in around her. Chloe instinctively reached out, feeling the darkness ripple against her fingertips. Suddenly, the realization struck her like lightning. What if the key her father held wasn't just a key to a door? What if it was the key to a truth that could destroy everything she believed about her family? Just as the shadows began to tighten their grip, she heard it, the echo of a voice, a desperate cry from the past that rang clear. Chloe. Would she have the courage to uncover what lay hidden in the dark abyss of her family's legacy? The answer awaited her, teetering on the edge of revelation, pulsing with every beat of her heart. As the shadows danced closer, the grip of fate tightened around her, binding her to the truth she couldn't yet comprehend. Chloe braced herself. What sacrifices would it take to discover the legacy of secrets? Would she unravel the very fabric of her existence, or become lost in the dark forever? Chloe's heart raced, each thud echoing like a drum in her chest as she faced the shifting silhouette before her. The shadows curled around her, whispering secrets of despair and hope, and she felt the edges of her reality fray. The figure's voice, a haunting mix of familiarity and strangeness, wrapped around her senses. Chloe, It repeated, drawing closer, the darkness striving to consume her with every heartbeat. There was an urgency in its tone, as if it recognized her need for answers even before she did. You must understand, everything begins with your choice. You are the bridge. Bridge? Chloe echoed, confusion mingling with the pulse of fear. Her mind raced, trying to decipher the cryptic message. Bridge to what? Why did you bring me here? The figure's form began to solidify, the shadows wrapping tighter until a blurred visage emerged. She gasped, recognizing the features marred by sorrow. It was her mother, her face twisted with anguish, yet somehow hopeful. Mom. Chloe's voice trembled, and she felt the breath catch in her throat. Memories flashed through her, a swirling mix of laughter and pain from distant days long buried. Is it really you? Yes. It's me, but not as you remember, the apparition replied, each word laced with a grief that prickled Chloe's skin. The darkness you stepped into is not merely a passage, it's a mirror reflecting the past. You carry the weight of our family's secrets. You must choose whether to embrace them or let them destroy you. Chloe struggled against the suffocating dread. Secrets? What secrets? Why didn't Dad ever tell me? A low wail echoed around them as the shadows intensified, threatening to suffocate her. He is protecting you from me, her mother continued, the pain evident. But I never meant for you to be wrapped in silence, Chloe. You deserve the truth, the whole truth. The weight of those words pressed down on Chloe, but she was determined. Then tell me. Show me what I need to know. I can't keep living this way. Suddenly, the space around her burst into a kaleidoscope of colors, memories entwined with shadows, laughter overshadowed by despair. Faces flashed by, faces of those she loved, people she lost, and the haunting eyes of others she had never met. Each image was alive, racing toward her as if begging for recognition. A voice broke through the chaos, a whisper weaving through the memories. To unlock this door, Chloe, you must confront what lies within yourself and make a sacrifice. What does that mean? She shouted, her voice thrumming with desperation. I'm tired of guessing. But the figure began to fade, the shadows pulling it back into the abyss. You will understand soon, the clock is ticking, and your father bears the weight of a grim truth. Her voice lingered as the darkness surged forward, but a single thought pierced the confusion. Did my dad do something terrible? Just then, she heard a scream in the distance, shrill and filled with anguish. It pierced the air like a knife. Chloe, her father's voice, unmistakably frantic yet distant, echoed in the chambers of her mind, a tether pulling her back to the waking world. Panic seized her. Was he in danger? Had she crossed a line she couldn't uncross? The shadows lunged at her again, a cacophony of trapped souls crying for release. Chloe faced them, heart hammering with resolve. No, I won't let you take me down. I won't. She dashed back through the swirling fog, racing toward the threshold of light. But as she reached for reality, one last whisper curled around her. The past is never truly buried, Chloe. It waits, and then she was yanked back into the room, gasping for breath, bathed in light as if reborn. The kids stared wide-eyed. Her father's face was frozen in disbelief, clutching the key like a lifeline. The air buzzed with an incredible tension, each breath heavy with implication. What had she just walked through? What truth did the shadows reveal? Chloe? Her dad's voice cracked. What happened in there? She looked into his eyes, the unspoken fear hanging thick between them. I think she started, but the words stuck in her throat. Would revealing the past cause more pain than healing? Her answer loomed unspoken, like an enormous weight on her soul. The question hung in the air, darker than the shadows she had faced, and she realized that knowing the truth might lead them down a path from which there was no return. What cost was she willing to pay to unlock the mysteries that had torn her family apart? The answer hovered just beyond her grasp, shrouded in the fog of uncertainty. As the dread settled in, she could feel that the true battle had just begun. Would she be brave enough to face what was hidden? The door creaked ominously behind her, the darkness still whispering, seeking a way back through the cracks. What would Chloe decide? Panic gripped her as Chloe's breath hitched, the weight of her mother's revelation crashing down like a relentless tide. The room felt smaller, the walls closing in as she chanced to glance back at the door that had swallowed her into darkness. A shiver ran down her spine as she recalled those last haunting words. their echo imprinted in her mind. Chloe, are you okay? Her father's voice pulled her from her spiral, sharp and infused with worry. She turned to him, eyes wide as 1,000 questions spun in her mind. The urgency of his gaze urged her forward. He looked like a man hiding behind a fragile mask of strength, a man teetering on the edge of a secret too heavy to bear. I saw, Mom, the words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered, breaking the brittle silence. Your mother? Stunned, he faltered, his grip tightening around the key, knuckles pale. What do you mean? Chloe swallowed hard, the lump in her throat now a choking vine. She was in the dark. She told me things about secrets. About you protecting me from something. What is it, Dad? What is the truth? The flickering fluorescent lights danced shadows across his face, illuminating the layers of anguish that creased his brow. She saw the panic flare, a flicker of something like betrayal in his eyes. How could you? He shook his head, voice wavering. You shouldn't have gone in there. It's too dangerous, Chloe. Dangerous? Or just painful? She forced out, her own voice stronger than she felt. You can't keep shielding me. I need to know. For a heartbeat. He looked like he might crumble, the mask slipping. But then, like a fortress rising from ashes, he squared his shoulders. Some truths are better left buried. His voice was a hard whisper, but she felt the tremor beneath it. The truth was clawing at him too. Chloe clenched her fists, fire igniting her resolve. What does that even mean? Are you saying I should ignore what I felt? What I saw? Mom was trying to tell me something important. A pained expression crossed his face, a flash of something regret, fear, that made her uneasy. Chloe, please. I did what I thought was best for you. Best? She scoffed, incredulity rising. You mean lying and keeping secrets? How is that what is best? Tell me who I am, who we are. In that moment, there was silence, heavy and laden, punctuated only by the distant echo of a clock ticking down time they could hardly afford. Before he could respond, a frantic pounding echoed from the door behind them. It rattled on its hinges. Chloe's heart skipped. A new fear thrummed within. Dad! She grabbed his arm, panic crackling between them. What if it's the shadows? What if they found a way back? We can't stay here. He hissed, his urgency now blending with hers. We have to leave. Now. What about the kids? She shouted, her voice rising amidst the chaos, the haunting thought of them left behind gnawing at her. Her father hesitated, anguish painted in the lines of his face. They are not our priority right now. Chloe felt her body tense, the words slicing through her like ice. You're wrong. She fought back, determined to grab hold of every ounce of compassion remaining in their chaotic connection. These kids deserve our help. They deserve to know they aren't alone. The pounding intensified, the door slamming against the frame as someone struggled to break through. Each thud sent ripples of dread coursing through the air, twisting tight around her heart. Fear or courage? Which would it be? Please, Chloe, her father begged softly, the desperation in his voice wrapping around her as he leaned closer. Let us go? We can't face this. The shadows danced impatiently, wicked whispers weaving through the cracks, the scent of ancient fears mixing with the crush of impending chaos. Chloe felt trapped, a storm swirling inside her. In the shadows lies the truth. Her mother's voice chimed in her memory. She hesitated. Maybe we can face it together. Before she could voice her thoughts, a shriek erupted from the other side of the door. A voice like fire. Chloe. May? Chloe spun, heart pounding. A piercing reality clenched her stomach, clawing for clarity in the frenzy. The past surged like a tidal wave, crashing over defenses she had never dared to understand. What is happening? The pounding grew stronger, frantic thrumming echoing deep into her bones. Chloe. Her father's voice snapped her back. We need to move. We cannot. But before he could finish, the door flung open with a violent crash. A figure stormed in, breathless and wild-eyed. The chaos that followed seemed to stretch time, wrapping an ethereal veil around their frantic hearts. Just as recognition dawned in her chest, the figure stumbled forward, helpless yet determined. Chloe, I came to find you. But just as she was about to scream in joy, the darkness flickered behind them with a hungry energy. The price of truth was about to be paid. What consequence awaited them all, and would Chloe choose to step into the abyss once more? Chloe's heart raced as she processed the figure in front of her. May's eyes were wide with fear and urgency, and it struck Chloe to the core. In that moment, the chaos of their surroundings fell away, replaced by a single truth. May had come to rescue her. May, she exclaimed, relief flooding through her. But questions slipped in, thorny and pricking at the edges of her mind. What happened? Are you okay? Before May could answer, a shadow twisted behind her in the doorway, dark and shapeless. The air crackled with an ominous energy that would suffocate joy in an instant. Chloe felt her breath hitch again, and she instinctively took a step back, bumping into her father. May, you shouldn't be here. Her father barked, a harsh edge in his tone. It's too dangerous. Dangerous? May shot back, defiance sparking in her eyes. You think I'm just going to sit back while Chloe is in trouble? I had to come. The darkness pulsed, swirling malevolently at the doorframe, inches from becoming one with them. Chloe's mind raced with fear, battling against whatever held these shadows at bay. What is out there? She whispered, her voice barely rising above the chaos. Something bad, Chloe, May replied, a tremor in her voice. I saw what they can do. Her face paled as she spoke, the memories likely still fresh and raw, each word steeped in the kind of horror that haunted their dreams. No. Chloe's protest rang out as she shook her head. We can't leave the kids. We can't abandon them to whatever is lurking out there. Saving you is my priority. Her father's voice was firm, but despite his intent, a flicker of uncertainty darted across his face. No, Dad, Chloe replied, her voice rising, fueled by desperation. What if Mom was right? What if facing the truth is the only way to save everyone? But another loud scream from beyond the door cut through the air like a knife, chilling them all to the bone. A boyish voice. Help! Someone help! Chloe's heart plummeted. That's Jamie. We have to go? With determination, she turned toward the door, just as May gripped her arm, a measure of panic in her wide eyes. Chloe, wait. We don't know what's out there. It doesn't matter. She shot back. We can't leave them. Chloe pulled her arm free, adrenaline surging through her, turning fear into something sharper courage. Her father lunged forward, hands gripping her shoulders. You don't understand. You're putting yourself in danger. I can't let me go. Chloe cried, summoning every ounce of strength. The shadows throbbed with a pulsating energy at the doorway, as if sensing the conflict. Then, with one mighty burst, the darkness swept toward them like a tidal wave, threatening to engulf the entire room in its suffocating embrace. Chloe pushed past him, heart pounding in her ears. We can't abandon them. She raced towards the threshold, determination fueling her every step. In that split second, everything changed. As she crossed the threshold, gravity shifted and the world lurched, plunging her into a desperate freefall through the inky blackness. She heard May scream behind her, then her father's insistent shout, words lost in the maelstrom as shadows clutched at her ankles. The air thickened around her, and just as she thought she'd go under, the darkness snapped back. Chloe landed hard, gasping as she stared into a vast empty space marked by whispers and shadows swirling like an approaching storm. Chloe! No! May's voice reached her, a tether amidst the chaos. But before Chloe could turn, reality cracked open like an egg. The boy's voice echoed again, its urgency twisting her gut. Chloe, please help. A flicker, a spark of light in the distance, and something deep inside her stirred. What if answers lay just beyond that flicker, waiting to be uncovered? Chloe glanced back, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Her father's desperate plea for her safety clawed at her heart, yet the looming threat in the shadows haunted her future. Could she take that leap into the unknown for those kids? May, she called, her voice steady despite the growing tides of fear. We can't let them face this alone. Yet as she turned towards the source of the flickering light, dread settled heavily. Was she choosing to walk into the lioness den? And would they all emerge intact? In that moment of vulnerability, the air shifted again, and a shadow surged forth, carrying with it the promise of chaos. What awaited them on the other side of the light? And would Chloe's choice seal their fate? The next choice loomed, its darkness stretching far beyond the door, daring them to dive deeper. Chloe stood at the edge of the shadows, heart racing, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on her. She could hear Jamie's voice crying out for help, echoing in the void, mingling with the fear rippling through her. The flicker of light ahead seemed like a beacon, a lifeline, but it danced just beyond her reach. Her father's voice rang in her ears, filled with sorrow and desperation. "Chloe, please don't do this." But she could feel the pull of the children, their need pressing against her like a tidal wave. With a deep breath, she steadied herself. "I have to go," she declared, her voice firm. She turned back to May. "We can't leave them behind. They need us." The shadows around her seemed to writhe, whispering their dark secrets, but Chloe stepped forward, propelled by a surge of courage. Together, she called, her heart reaching for May, for Jamie, for the kids who had been left waiting too long for someone to fight for them. May hesitated, her expression caught in a whirlwind of conflict, but Chloe's resolute stance ignited something in her. "All right, I'm with you," May shouted, plunging into the darkness. Just behind her, Chloe felt her father's hand gripping her arm, both protective and unwilling to let go. Yet even as he gripped tight, Chloe sensed something shift within him, a glimmer of acceptance, of understanding. "Go," she urged him, her eyes fierce. "They need us. You can't keep protecting me from everything." With a pained expression, he finally released her, acknowledging that this was her moment. "Okay, but let us finish this together." As they advanced into the shadows, the chaos around them began to swirl more aggressively. The pulse of fear ebbed and flowed like a dark tide, but Chloe didn't falter. Glancing at each other, a silent pact formed among them. The three of them moved through the darkness, breath hitching as they felt the tight grip of uncertainty. They reached the flickering light that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Jamie's voice was clearer now. "Chloe, hurry, just a little longer," Chloe shouted. Mantles of shadow danced around them, but buoyed by their combined strength, they pressed on. Then, they burst through the threshold of shadow into a wide, open space lit by a growing glow. The room before them was filled with ethereal light, but laced with a gloom that seemed to cling to the very walls. The shadows retreated at the touch of the light, revealing those they sought: Jamie and the other children, huddled together, but their faces were ghostly pale, eyes wide with fright. "Chloe!" Jamie rushed forward, fear turning into relief. The remaining kids clutched onto each other, confidence fracturing in the face of the unknown. "Don't worry, we're here," Chloe reassured them, feeling a surge of empowerment. But as she glanced around, she felt a cold shiver race down her spine. Each child was entangled in a web of darkness, a mist wrapping tight around their limbs. "Help us!" they cried, their tiny voices weaving a tapestry of desperation. Chloe's heart broke at the sight. She stepped closer, determination igniting within her. "We'll get you out," she promised, fists clenched with fury against the shadows trying to consume them. But then, from the darkness loomed the sinister keyholder, eyes glinting with malevolence. "Foolish girl, you dare challenge the shadows? They are not mere figments. They are the anguish of the past. Let them go." Her father stepped forward, a surge of anger matching Chloe's defiance. "They deserve to be freed, just as Chloe deserves the truth." The keyholder chuckled darkly. "Truth? The truth is harsh and unforgiving, like scars on one's soul. Can you handle it, child? Can you handle what your family has done?" Its voice dripped with cruelty, the very air bristling with intimidation. Chloe felt the shadows closing in again. "I'll face it. I'll face whatever it takes," she shouted back, feeling the surge of every child beside her. The keyholder recoiled momentarily, uncertainty flickering in its shadowy eyes. "Then you must make the ultimate sacrifice." "What do you mean?" Chloe demanded, voice unwavering. "The price for freedom is high," it replied ominously. "Embrace the shadows within." In that moment, everything clicked. She recalled her mother's words, and that aching distance every time she had longed for answers. "I will embrace the truth," she declared, her voice echoing with precedent. "I will not let fear control me. We will face this together." With those powerful words, something within her shifted and understanding blossomed. The shadows hesitated, recoiling as light flickered brighter in response to her conviction. "Dare to defy the past?" The keyholder hissed, but Chloe didn't flinch. She reached her hand toward the children, and all of them drew closer together, finding strength in unity. The connection ignited like wildfire, radiating warmth against the looming darkness. "Together!" she cried, and with that rallying cry, the shadows flinched, then surged back as bright light erupted from their hearts, empowering their hopes. The air shimmered as the darkness rippled and strained, imploding around them as the shadows screamed and shrank away. The children gasped, joining hands with Chloe and May, an unspoken alliance forged in hope. "Look!" Jamie shouted, eyes bright with amazement as the shadows retreated, unveiling the light that sparkled with promise. "We're free." And with a final surge, the oppressive presence of the darkness shattered, retreating into the corners like a long-lost memory. The children stood, vibrant and whole, as the weight of the past lifted. Chloe turned to her father, tears glistening in her eyes. "We did it. We faced it." He was speechless, a range of emotions flickering across his features. "I couldn't protect you from the truth, could I?" he murmured, tears brimming as a bittersweet smile broke through the stormy lines of worry. "I'm so proud of you." Chloe squeezed his hand, feeling the warmth of love rekindle between them. They had faced their darkness and emerged with clarity. The orphanage felt lighter, filled now with laughter and faint murmurs of hope. "Don't forget, the shadows may always linger," the figure warned softly, dimming like a fading echo. "Then we'll keep shining our light," Chloe vowed, united with the other children. They were ready for anything, no longer hiding within tragic stories, but blazing through life's adversities together. As sunset bathed the orphanage in a warm golden hue, gratitude swelled in Chloe's heart. They couldn't change the past, but they had the power to shape their future. And as they walked out into the light, a new journey awaited, full of open doors and possibilities. Chloe's laughter rang through the air, carrying them all forward into the brightness of what was to come. Don't forget this incredible journey. You need to subscribe now for more exclusive stories like this one. Smash that like button now to support the channel and feed the algorithm. And flood the comments with your reactions and theories about the ending. What did you think? Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share. Your support means everything.